Good morning. We're going to practice towards downward facing dog this morning or afternoon, whenever you are joining me today. So go ahead and grab your mat. We'll set up right here. You can sit on a block if you'd like to, or just sit in a chair. You can cross your ankles. Just reach your arms out in front of you. Lift your right arm and then cross your arms. Clasp your hands. This feels really good for your wrists, so definitely do this with me. Bring your hands in, up towards your face, and then see how much you can straighten your elbows. We'll see. And then bring it back in. We'll cross underneath this time. Clasp your hands. Bring your hands in as you straighten your elbows. And we'll see how this side feels. And uncross, reach forward. Good. And then lower your left hand, reach your right arm up to the ceiling for a side body stretch. And lift your arm back up as you lower the right hand, reach your left arm for a side body stretch. Lift back up. And lower your fingers to your lap as you draw your chin to your chest. And then over to the left side of your collarbone. So you drop your left ear and slide your head back. Lower your right ear, drop your chin. Go down the middle. I'm going to just go the other way. Over to the right. Drop your ear, slide over to the side back. Lower your left ear. Lower your chin towards the top of the collarbone. Lower arm down. It's kind of a tabletop. I'm actually going to turn so that my feet are at the wall. We will be using the wall later. So with your hands underneath your shoulders, your knees underneath your hips, round your spine toward the ceiling. For cat pose, think about lifting more from the mid-back, so you really lift up from the belly. And then cow pose. Feel as if you can lengthen your chest forward. And then round your spine, feeling every bit of your spine in a rounded position, in flexion. And then finding length throughout the spine in this way, feeling especially in the chest. And then come to neutral pose, so neutral tabletop. Lift your right arm up to the ceiling. And lower your right hand. Lift your left arm up to the ceiling. Try to punch up to the ceiling. Punch up. And then lower back down. Okay, now you're at the wall. Maybe, right? So if you're not at the wall, no worries. But if you can move to the wall, feel free. And then just lift your left leg. Tap your left toe to the wall. And then hover your right hand out to the side with your elbow bent. And then lower it back down. We'll switch sides. Tap the right toe to the wall. Lift your left arm out to the side. And then lower the left hand, lower the right knee. Lower your forearms down to the mat. So we're going to do down dog, but on your forearms today. A little bit different than last week. Go ahead and bring your palms to touch on the mat. Feel the forearms press down into the floor. Tuck your toes and then hover your knees. Lift your hips as you walk your feet forward. Really think about lifting the pelvis up towards the ceiling. Then take 3 breaths in and out through your nose. Unless you're like me with a stuffy nose and you just breathe out through your mouth. And then lower your knees. Come onto your hands. Walk your hands back to your feet. Tuck your toes. Go ahead and feel. Actually, go ahead and bring your hands and move your pinky toes under. Actually, tuck your pinky toes under a little bit more. A little toe stretch. Take 2 breaths here. Breathe in through your nose. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Just time to get off your hands for a second. Then untuck your toes. Tap the bottoms of your feet. Then tuck your toes again. Lift in a downward facing dog. So your hips are, imagine your sit bones going up towards the ceiling, feeling the lift in the mid back, just a slight lift, as you push your arms down into the floor. So a super strong downward facing dog. And walk your hands back to your feet. You can bend your knees a little bit and then lift your arms up to the ceiling and hands to heart. And then reach back up to the ceiling. Fold over your legs. And walk your hands forward into your downward facing dog. Lower your knees to your yoga mat. Round your spine into cat pose. Extend your spine into cow. Find a neutral position, your tabletop pose. Reach your right arm up to the ceiling. Try to punch your arm up to the ceiling. Lower your right hand down. Try to punch your left arm up to the ceiling. Lower it back down. Lower your forearms and bring your palms to touch. Push your forearms down as you lift your knees and lift your pelvis up towards the ceiling. Keep pushing your forearms down, kind of forward. And then lower your knees. Come onto your hands. Walk your hands back as you tuck your toes. For a little bit of a toe stretch. A little bit of a toe stretch. And walk your hands forward. Untuck your toes. Tap the tops of your feet onto the mat. Hands underneath your shoulders as you tuck your toes again, lift into downward facing dog. For this moment, imagine like you're trying to draw your mat apart. Like you're trying to draw the mat, or try to rip the mat apart in half with your arms. And walk your hands back a little bit. Walk your feet forward a little bit. Fold. And rise up to stand. Reach your arms to the ceiling. And hands to heart. Reach back up. Folds. And walk your hands back forward into your downward dog. Walk your feet back a little bit. Try to draw the mat apart so you feel a lot of strength in your arms. Try to push the mat forward. Try to push the mat in, and then lower your knees. Okay, now we're going to use the wall. So bring your feet to the wall. And we're going to try this out. With your feet on the wall, push into the wall, lift your knees so you're in a shorter downward dog. You can stay right here, staying strong through your shoulders, or lift up one foot, and then the other foot, and then start to lift or straighten your legs. Notice if you start to bend your hips like this, or your low back, and instead, think about length in your spine and strength in your shoulders. Maybe lift up, maybe lift, and then lower your feet. Good. And then come on down to your knees for a second. And Enjoy this new breath, this new movement, the feeling of being right side up after being upside down is really special, really interesting feeling that I invite you to sit with for just a little bit longer today. You might close your eyes and take a few breaths to yourself before you move on into the rest of your day, the rest of your day. Let me know if you have any questions, and we'll talk again soon.